Is time traveling possible? That is a question that might occur to anyone regardless of their age or level of experience in anything. In a way of speaking, we're already traveling time, second by second, into the future. But are we able to go back in time into the past or go forward into the future? That is a consistently discussed idea in philosophy as well as in science fiction. You'll see numerous movies, novels, dramas, comics, and many other genres of art based on the concepts of time travel. Which of those are possible and which of those are just baseless imaginations in one's mind? Let's find out in this video. Welcome to Amazed. This is the place for all of you curious souls to find out whatever you're looking for. Before moving forward in this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to stay connected with more content like this. There are nuances of possibilities and paradoxes concerning time traveling. In this video, we'll be exploring those time traveling concepts and figure out the truths behind them. The paradoxes related to time traveling can be mainly categorized into two sets. Causal loops, in which there's a self-existing time loop, simply when a future event is the cause of a past event and that past event is the cause of the future event. And consistency paradoxes, in which involve numerous inconsistencies of the timeline that suggest the prospect of making changes to the past. One of the more popular time travel paradoxes is the grandfather paradox. This paradox explained in a simple occurrences. If you traveled back in time and altered the lives of your grandparents so that they never met, you wouldn't have been born and wouldn't have traveled back in time. What happens in this paradox is, when the past is altered in any way, a contradiction is created. Let's think that you made the decision to go into the past because one person in your bloodline, which was created by your grandparents, caused the destruction of the world. You travel back in time to kill your grandfather before he meets your grandmother, so that the whole line of the family disappears from existence. That includes you as well. But the world is in a better condition. Physicists introduce two hypotheses that this situation can transpire. First, timeline protection hypothesis. In our situation, it will play off like this. You can do whatever you can in order to kill your grandfather, but none of those will work and cause any real damage to him. The second one is the multiple universe hypothesis. According to this, you will be able to kill your grandfather and come back to the present. But this present isn't like you knew it. Everything that made you the person you are has been wiped out. Your family, friends, and your whole history is non-existent. You're in a timeline where you never existed. You've either created an alternative timeline or you've set foot into a parallel universe. A different form of the grandfather paradox is the Hitler paradox. It's known as Hitler's murder paradox as well. In this paradox, you travel back in time to kill a historical figure like Adolf Hitler who committed mass slaughter or did something that affects even the lives of the present generation. What happens here is removing the reason that caused the time travel in the first place. If you killed Hitler before he could commit the genocide of the European Jews and started World War II, it removes all the reasons that caused the time travel. It also removes any knowledge the present had of the reason. Another time travel paradox is Polchinski's paradox, which was proposed by Joseph Polchinski, an American theoretical physicist. The outline of this paradox is that a billiard ball goes into a wormhole and comes out the other end in the past to impact with the younger version of the ball just in time to prevent it from entering the wormhole in the first place. Physicists consider this paradox in a more serious manner, as Einstein's general relativity offers nothing to exclude the idea of time travel or closed time-like curves, as well as the paradox is based on the laws of motion. To avoid the inconsistencies suggested in Polchinski's paradox, Physicists have formulated numerous solutions that summarizes as to why the collision between the ball and its younger version is not enough to change the course of the younger version of the ball, while it's not enough to prevent it from entering the wormhole. This relates closely with the timeline protection hypothesis, as it explains how something always prevents you from finishing off your grandfather's life, as exemplified in the grandfather paradox. To preserve the version of the history that is consistent, something always takes place to prevent the course of action from happening. Another more popular time-traveling paradox is the predestination paradox. This occurs when the effects of the actions of the person going back in time cause the reason for the time travel in the first place. Which means, the first event in the past causes the time travel in the future to happen, and it causes the first event to take place. And this leads to a temporal causality loop. Simply put, this paradox discusses how the events are intended to happen the same way no matter what you try to change. That your actions after you traveled back in time are what causes the events that you're trying to prevent from occurring. That you're only doing what you're destined to do in the first place and not altering the past. Bootstrap paradox talks about an object or a person that is sent back in time that creates an infinite loop where the object or the person has no detectable origin. And the existence of this object happens without clear indication of it getting created. It could even be a piece of information. This paradox leads to the fact that the past, present, and the future can't be defined, which causes us to question identifying the origin of anything. This paradox is also known as an ontological paradox. Ontology is a subcategory of philosophy that talks about the nature of existence. The Fermi paradox is another concept that can be revamped for time traveling. What it discusses is, if time travel were possible, where would all the time travelers from the future be? This can be simply reasoned as time traveling not being possible or time travelers not being able to reach some random point in the past. But the lack of evidence of the time travelers from the future doesn't necessarily mean that time traveling is physically impossible. It might mean that even if time traveling is possible, it is never developed or used in a more cautious manner. There are also suggestions of time travelers disguising themselves well enough to never to get recognized as time travelers. All these paradoxes leave us with our original question: is time travel really possible? According to the studies, the possibility of backward time traveling is uncertain, but there's a possibility of finding solutions for it within general relativity. One example being a rotating black hole. The forward time travel is an area that can be understood within some areas of physics, such as special relativity and general relativity. Traveling to some random point of time in the past or future is a field of study often connected with quantum mechanics or wormholes. With special and general relativity, physicists suggest the possibility of time travel into the past and future will be possible with suitable geometries of space-time and particular motions in space, if those were possible. Majority of physicists and scientists believe backward time travel is not possible, as the theories that suggest going back into the past give out possible complications towards causality. The paradoxes we discussed earlier in the video, like the grandfather paradox and Polchinski's paradox, give enough examples for this. As we talked about the movies and other works in the field of art that discuss time travel, here's a brief list of movies and books that talk about time traveling. The predestination paradox is featured in M. Crook's Phoebe Fortune, and the predestination paradox in movies like 12 Monkeys, The Time Traveler's Wife, and Predestination. Best examples that portray the bootstrap paradox are Michael Moorcock's Behold the Man and Tim Powers' The Anubis Gates, as well as the movies Somewhere in Time, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Terminator movies, and the Netflix series Dark. Some of the best examples of the grandfather paradox are the Back to the Future movies. Books such as Dr. Quantum and the Grandfather Paradox by Fred Alan Wolfe and Future Times 3 by René Barjavel feature good portrayals of the Grandfather Paradox. Apart from these, there are many movies, books, and television series that are created around the areas of time travel. Time traveling is an interesting topic of study, even if it's not physically possible according to the theories and concepts in existence. We can observe numerous novel ideas through these movies and books. One thing all these paradoxes suggest is that it's better to leave things as they are. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.